morning when I turned it on. So hopefully it was better in Scotland for the family, right? Mark Stoops is the longest tenured coach in the University of Kentucky's history, football coach, and is also the longest term of any current football coach in the Southeastern Conference. Mark is the one head football coach who was in his role when I became commissioner of the Southeastern Conference. So one of 16 has been with me these now in my 11th year. Mark holds the school records for wins, SEC wins, and wins over ranked opponents. In his 12 seasons at the University of Kentucky, Mark has helped the Coaches for the Kids Foundation raise more than $4 million, with all proceeds benefiting the Kentucky Children's Hospital and Kentucky's children. Mark was raised, I think you all know, in Youngstown, Ohio, as were his brothers and fellow coaches Bob and Mike. Mark later went on to play in the secondary at the University of Iowa for Hall of Fame football coach Hayden Fry. Mark has two sons, Will and Zach, and welcome to the podium, University of Kentucky head football coach Mark Stoops.
Thank you, Greg. First of all, I know why Coach Drink has a reason to not talk about certain things. So I'll keep that between myself and him and a few colleagues, but you got to keep an eye on old Drink there. No, thank you, Commissioner. Greatly appreciate you, as always, what you do, the leadership you provide along with your staff each and every year. I'd also like to acknowledge the leadership back on campus at the University of Kentucky, President Dr. Eli Capilouto, Athletic Director Mitch Barnhart. We are about to embark on the 13th season together. Very rare to have that kind of continuity, and I greatly appreciate the steadfast support they've given me and each and every coach and every athlete on campus. So, you know, it's been some trying times, to say the least, and just appreciate the work that they've done. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank you, the media, for what you do to continue to elevate this beautiful game that we played and been involved with for so long. And, you know, not only elevating our game, but the stories that you tell with our amazing players. And like many of the coaches here, I want to take this moment and discuss the three guys that are with me here today. Three amazing young men. Both of them have been in our program for 4 years. Both of them are going to be seniors. Or, I'm sorry, three of them are going to be, they're all going to be seniors. One of them has already got his degree. Another one will get it in December, and the other one will get it next May. So Alex Safari, a senior linebacker from Cincinnati, Ohio. Interesting story about Alex is he moved to the United States from Ghana, and while he was in middle school, he went and signed up. He saw a sign-up sheet for football, and he went and started the first practice, and he didn't understand what the heck was going on, and he was trying to sign up for soccer, but that's how he became introduced to football, and the rest is history. He's had a great career. We actually recruited him as a cornerback, grew into a safety, then became a hybrid. Last year moved to inside linebacker and just picked it up in a big way, and is a great leader and great person for us. Next is Josh Caddis. Josh is another senior tight end from Cincinnati, Ohio, and just a remarkable person. You know, one tidbit on Josh, he doesn't do this to get the recognition, but he's a guy that each and every week for the last 3 years discreetly goes to the UK Children's Hospital and spends time with young people. Just a truly amazing person and a great leader. The third one is Jordan Lovett, a senior safety from Kentucky, and he is already a graduate in graduated in education, and someday will be a remarkable educator, and just love the three of them and what they do for our program. For us, we have to take the mindset into this year the same way we attack the off season. football coaches, we use this term a lot, but, for us, it was like a 4th-and-1 mentality. That moment in a 4th-and-1 situation demands urgency, unity, execution. And we obviously needed to have a strong offseason, So every rep, every lift, every team meeting, no matter what we're doing, we have to embrace that challenge. And I greatly appreciate the focus and the relentless commitment that these players have had to each other. After last season, obviously not a very good year for us. And, we had to take a good look at that. For myself, when we had 8 straight bowl appearances, one of only 3 teams in the SEC to do that. It's not easy. And so we had a really good stretch and been really consistent. We know the great teams that are in this league, and, there's many of us that had a year off here and there. And when you do that and have a bad year like that, I had to take a good step back, analyze each and everything in our program along with our staff and our players. And, there's a lot of work to be done, but we didn't want to just move past it. We really wanted to make sure we made the adjustments necessary. Any weakness that we had, we want to try to make a strength and just attack it each and every day. And, there's a lot of good, from us as a coaching staff to be able to do that. But we looked at everything, from our culture to our schemes, the way we teach, the way we connect, the way we lead. All of it need to be analyzed and make the necessary adjustments. For us, we will continue to anchor with the core values of our program, and that's an attitude, toughness, discipline, and pride. And we need to do that with the consistency that's necessary to make sure, that you're going to get the growth that's needed. And, during a difficult year, those attributes don't just go away. There's something that we got to lean back into and make sure we're doing a lot of things well, but make sure we do those things at a very high level. There's a lot of new change on our campus. We have 50 new players that are coming in. That's the most we've ever had in the transfer era, obviously. And 26 transfers that come in. 13 of those transfers have been starters, and 8 of them have been starters at the Power 5 conference. So we feel like we're bringing in a lot of fresh faces there, and I think that's something that's important for us. After coming off the year that we had, I think all of our players know that we've been very consistent. We've done things right. We feel like we got a lot of systems and processes in place to be successful, but we needed a change. I think the roster turnover for this year was important for us. We needed that. I think there's a great balance for us with the new faces, the fresh faces, the energy, the juice that these players are bringing, and the experience that they have. But I also love the continuity that we have with our staff. This is the first time in a long time that the offensive coordinator is returning for the second season. It's been uncommon to have the turnover that we've had at offense coordinator, and it obviously, has caught up to us. But this year, bringing Bush Hamden back for a second year is something that I'm excited about, and we need to improve. We need to build, but I'm quite confident we'll do that. Brad White is returning for his 7th season, so we've had great stability and continuity on the defensive side of the ball. And Jay Bolaware does a remarkable job. He's back for his 3rd year with special teams. So I think there's a good mixture with new people, new faces, fresh energy, guys that aren't tied up with the negative season that we had last year. That's gone. And the 50 players that are here that are new, they really don't care about what happened last year. They acknowledge it, they understand it, but they're really concerned about what we're doing now and how we're going to move the program forward. And so that's been a fresh change, and so I'm excited about this group. I really love the way they're working. I know everybody says that, and I wouldn't be any different, but I can promise you we analyzed a lot of things and been very intentional about the development of this team, trying to expedite that process, trying to force feed the relationships, making sure everybody's on the same page. They've really bought in. They're fun. They've got experience. We've got to fit the pieces together. We know that. We have a lot of work to do. But again, I'm very excited about the staff and how hard they've worked. And, so it's time to get rolling. It's great to be here. Appreciate your time. I know it's been a long week. You have a couple more coaches here to wrap it up, and we'll get rolling. But at this point, I'll open it up for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Stoops. If you have a question, raise your hand. Molly Ann, Holly, and Olivia have microphones. If you can please give your name and affiliation. Coach, we'll start over here on our right-hand side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nick Roush, KSR. Mark, how motivated would you say you are?
I think that's a point that I think, Nick, you're pretty dialed into. I think it's interesting, as I talk a lot in the off season, I love how people grab certain aspects of things that I say, and it's no different than I've ever been. Zero change. I think one thing that I've had to, I think that's been a pleasant change for me is being consumed with certain aspects of this work that we have to do for the years, leading up to this. In particular, I think all of us have touched on it. I want to move past it, but the fundraising aspect of our job kind of gets a little bit, that's something that consumes us, and I think I want to get back to the coaching, and that makes me very happy. But motivated is something that I'm quite sure I've mentioned each and every year I've ever been a head football coach, and will continue to always do that. I'd like to use the word grateful. I think I'm very grateful to be here and happy. I know I had a hell of a year I had to get an ankle replacement surgery. So last year was a bear on me physically, and I got that fixed, and I feel great. And so that pain is gone when I'm on the field. So I'm very grateful, and looking forward to this 13th year, but it's business as usual for us. It's business as usual for myself. I think I'll play along and let the media have their fun and take their shots, and that's cool with me, and I'm ready to just move forward.
Coach, we'll go down the center aisle. Drew.
Yes, Coach Stoops. Drew DeArmond, WZZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama. You've done a great job recruiting the state during your tenure. Logan Stenberg, some great players. You have Khalil Saunders, now a redshirt senior, who's going to play a big part of your defensive line. Talk about his development. And then the second part of my question is another coach on your staff that's been with you a long time, that did a great job in our state at Auburn. But what does Eddie Grand mean to the program at Kentucky?
Yeah, Khalil, address Khalil first, but so pleased with Khalil. Just to see him mature, the way he's grown. Each and every year he's gotten better, and in particular this last year, you really see him making a big move to not only be a very good football player, but to be a very good leader. And I'm very proud of Khalil. And I just love the work that he's doing. I'm going to challenge him to be consistent through this year, but I like what he's doing. Eddie Grand has meant an awful lot to our program in many different ways. Any way we ask Eddie to help, he is right there front and center to do that, and could not have any more respect for Eddie Grand. And I think you asked every single person in our building and every player in our building, and they have the utmost respect for Eddie.
Coach, we'll go right in front of me here, about 3 rows back.
Coach Ryan Proud, Texas Sport Network. You mentioned you have 50 new players coming into the campus this year. How do you build that community off the field to build that chemistry on the field and get your team back into bowl contention? Yeah, it's a great question, and there's a lot to that. There's a lot of things that we do. I think that's one of the things that I mentioned in the opening dialogue was being intentional about forcing that relationship. And what I mean by that is just making sure we're putting things in front of them. And one of the things we do is simply getting to know people. When you have 50 new people and, quite a few at the midterm and guys that come in, Coach Dean Hood does quite a bit with our player development, but he has something that we do each and every day in our building. We put 4 individuals on there with their name and information, where they came from, first name, background, and then we quiz our players. So that's one of the things we do, where we actually make sure everybody knows everybody. Sounds like a simple thing, but when you have that much turnover and that much change, it's something that we have to do. And then the next step that we do is, after they get to know everybody, we have them sit there and break
break bread and eat dinner or lunch with somebody that they didn't know, communicate some things that maybe some of the team doesn't know, maybe some of the coaches doesn't know, get in front of the team and pour that back. You get a lot of information. Those are just some of the things that we do to specifically answer your question on trying to get the camaraderie.
Which will go straight in front of us on the right side, Barry.
Yeah, Mark, Barry Trammell from the Tulsa World. The 13 years in an SEC school is a long run. Have you been able to sustain that? And what can you do going forward to make sure you have as long of a runway as you want?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Barry. You know, it's a real challenge. You know, when I got to Kentucky, I think, you know, as I mentioned, listen, I don't. I might as well just stay away from that. I was going to say something, but I say things tongue in cheek, and it gets taken way out of control. When you lose, you got to watch what you say, Barry. But you know, truthfully, you know, when we got there was so much work to be done. I'm very proud of that run that we had. I mean, it's the best run we had in school. Maybe one other one with Bear Bryant, if you go back to the 50s there. But, you know, there's an 8-year run there, you know, where we've been as consistent as anybody in the history of our school. You know, and our local media was asking me this morning, and, you know, each coach that stands up here, you know, we go back a little bit, but we're really concentrating on this year, right? Like what's ahead of us. But when you have a down year, you have to stand up here, you have to own it, you have to face it, you know, talk about the things you're doing to address it, and then move on. I've stood up here after, you know, 2 10-win seasons. That's only happened 2 times in the history of our school, you know, and I don't really want to talk about that year. I want to talk about this year. You know, so there's a fine balance there. So for me, it's just exciting, as I mentioned to my your colleague there to your right there. But you know, it's really just you know, excited about the opportunity. You know, really diving into the challenge that lies ahead of us and embracing that and having fun with it. Because, you know, this shit's hard, and you might as well go enjoy it and dive into it. And there's a lot of people that can't do it and didn't do it for 12 years and didn't do it for 13 years, and not at Kentucky. You look at the history of what we've done, and there's a lot of great ones that didn't make it very long. And so I'm proud of the run that we have. You know, I want to use, you know, last year, you know, as us to learn from and to grow from and to get better and to get back to who we want to be. And that's something that our program, you know, deserves. That's something our fan base deserves, and the great people in Kentucky, the administration, you know, we're all in, and we're excited about this next season.
We're going to go all the way to the back in the left section.
Coach Rob Brown, SEC Sideline, Sports Network, Memphis. You talk about 50-plus players coming in new. It takes a while to build a culture. You ever thought about adopting a mantra, 13 weeks? In 13 weeks, you can take kids from all over east of the Mississippi to Parris Island and turn them into Marines. And kids, we hear they don't want to be coached hard. You're a Stoops from Youngstown, Ohio. It's in your blood. How are you dealing with that? Because your personality strikes me as an absolute driven 110% competitor.
Well, I appreciate that, and that's what I try to be. I could promise you that. I don't know any different. As I just mentioned to our players coming in here today, I said, be you. You know, be you. All you want to do is see authenticity. Be who you are. I can't stand up here and try to be somebody different. I have great respect. I watched the great Nick Saban for so many years and listened to him, you know, and all that, but I can't be him. I can only be me and be authentic. I think players see that and understand that, but I do think players want to be coached. You know, I think a lot has been talked about, and a lot has changed. I hope we're on the other side of that. You know, I feel it right now, even in this recruiting class that we're going through right now. I feel it, the shift as we going forward. If we could keep this thing in the guardrails and keep this house settlement the way it is, you know, they deserve to be paid. Pay them what it is, and then coach them hard, and let us do our job. You know, and that's developing young men into great people. You know, better people make better players each and every year, and that's our job, and so we're committed to that. And you know, and I love it, man. And you're right, remind me of who I am, because I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go out and we're gonna swing. You know what I mean? We're gonna swing this fall. We got a lot of work to do. We have an unbelievably challenging schedule, but hey, bring it on. Let's embrace it, let's have fun with it, and let's attack each and every day. That's all we can do.
We're going to go back in front of this section in front of me in the blue. Go ahead.
Hey Mark, Alex Miller from the Bryan College Station Eagle. What attracted you guys to Zach Calzada out of the portal, and how much do you think his previous SEC experience in places like A&M might help it?
Yeah, that certainly played into it for me. I think the fact that we had a local young quarterback on campus that we certainly feel is the future, and when that time is, I'm not sure. Whether it's next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, this season, next year, I'm not sure. But with Zach, it definitely played a factor. The fact that he won big games in the SEC. Has a ton of experience under his belt, has a chip on his shoulder, wants to come back and prove that. And so, I'm excited about Zach.
Coach, we'll stay in that same section, just a row back.
Charles Odom with the Associated Press. Given your experience and especially your tenure in the SEC, I'm wondering if you've seen rule changes, the NIL, but maybe also the transfer portal, have an impact in making it more advantageous for kids to stick around and complete their eligibility.
Yeah, I hope I'm interpreting that question the right way, but we always want players. I think any coach that comes up in here and talks about it, we're all into developing our program, developing players and bringing them along. Sometimes that's in 1 year, sometimes it's in 2 and 3. And listen, we all love our players, whether they're 1 year in our program, 6 months, or 4 years. But I think the 3 players I brought here today have been in our program 4 years. They understand the culture. Like I said, they've been around when we won a bunch of big games, and they'll stick with us as we fight through what we went through last year. And those are the guys I want to have by my side.
Which will go all the way to the back in the left-hand section.
Ryan Black with the Louisville Courier-Journal. Mark, Derek Shea already was part of your program before you promoted him. I just want to know, what has that been like with him kind of taking a more active role from previously?
Very smooth, very, very quick adjustment, very smooth. Josh Caddis is here today. You could ask him about it, but it was a very easy transition, very smooth. He's a guy that Coach Hamden and he work side by side anyway. So big picture scheme, a guy that Bush relied on, the communication that's already been done. He's already coached tight ends at a high level at a Power 5 school, been involved. And so, yeah, I love what I'm seeing there. He immediately, within a day or two of being promoted, or at least verbally by me, hit the ground running. It did amazing in recruiting, and has done a wonderful job in the classroom as well. So very excited about Derek.
Coach, we'll go down this middle aisle on the very back on the right-hand side.
Hey, Coach. Steve Moulton, 97.7 ESPN The Zone in Huntsville, Alabama. Hope you're doing well.
Doing great.
Good. During the spring meetings, when I was down there on the beach, it really felt like there was a lot of different opinions coming out from different coaches. I was wondering if you could take me in the room and just maybe give me a highlight or two of talking to other coaches about all of these different elements that are now in your world.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you maybe how that's communicated or how that comes out sometimes. Some of us may be a little more guarded or in what we're communicating until we make sure we get everything on the same page. I think one thing about that meeting is there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening, as you know, and there's so much transition, and we have to talk about many different things. I don't think any of us want to stay any more days, but it just seems like we could sit in there for a week and hammer out these things. And I will say this. I feel actually the opposite. I feel like there's a lot of coaches in there that really we want the same thing. I mean, how we get there, there may be some different opinions, but there's a lot of guys in there that are very unified, that really want to continue to make this great game great and continue, that. I mean, everybody is always going to have a personal agenda here or there that we have to look out for our own institution and what's right for us. But I truly believe there's a bunch of men in there that are in it for the good of the game, and we really want to make it better. I think we want to get unified and get on the same page with some of the other Power 5, Power 4 head coaches.
Coach, we're going to go back to the left-hand side near the back, near the TV set. Kirk.
Kirk Bowles with the Houston Chronicle. Mark, I don't know how closely you follow the discussion over the playoff model, moving ahead. Do you favor a situation like the Big Ten with 4 automatic qualifiers, or you prefer the 5-11 format?
Well, to answer the front part of your question, how closely I follow, not that close right now. If you haven't noticed, I have a lot of work to do. I say that with a grain of salt, but it's true. I have a lot of work to do. Let's do that. I think expansion is good. I think there's a lot of people that are looking at it and analyzing it. They gave us different options and looked at it in our meeting, and whatever it is, it's just like our schedule or anything else. Whether we play 8, whether we play 9, who we play, put it in front of us and let's get going. But no, I haven't analyzed it too close.
If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We have one back up here on the front. Get an email to get a microphone to Barry here.
Yeah, Mark, your relationship with your president and AD, 13 years. Bob had the same thing for 18 in Norman. What's the key to getting along with each other? Because you're right, it doesn't happen very often.
No, it really doesn't. I think, sometimes, you have to put your personal agenda to the side, and that's difficult because I have a job to do, they have a job to do, and I think understanding that is difficult. And sometimes there's some give and take in the situation, but they've been just absolutely amazing people to work for, much like Bob's situation at Oklahoma. I've been very blessed that way. I think first and foremost, they are great people. And, they care about Kentucky football, but they also care about the other student athletes and the other coaches that are on our campus, and there's a balance there. And I think each of us at every institution, there's some things that are to your advantage and maybe to a disadvantage, and you got to overcome them the best you can and make the most of any situation. But, I couldn't be more pleased with the people that I work with.
Coach, we'll take one final question in front of me, about 3 rows back.
Coach, who have been your favorite players to watch work out this offseason, just the way they go about their routine?
Yeah, that's hard to single out because I might say 2 or 3 guys, and the other ones are going to get a little bent because I really love the attitude of the whole group, and that's what it takes. Let's be honest. I think that's an area that we've talked about, right? The culture of your program, and that's unity and being together and unified in everything that we do, and holding each other accountable, and they're doing that. I just love the way they're attacking it, the way they're working. They understand what's at stake. They understand the importance of it, and they embrace that. And I respect the way they're working, and I'm excited to get on the grass full time with them.
Coach Stoops, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you all very much. Enjoy. What do you got? 2 more, and y'all ready to get out of here, I'm sure. So thank you. Appreciate what you do.